I'm Rodd Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Hey, folks, how you doing? I don't have soda today, but just going water. I'm going healthy today. So I've been excited about this program for a while because, I've always mentored people and learned from those that have already succeeded and built a business. And I'm really, really excited about the discussion with Curtis McCoy. Very impressive gentleman. That's an understatement, but let's start with that. And he is a gentleman that really is moving along a path that I look to continue into, if that makes any sense. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of introduction here because I can't wait to hear what he's saying. But basically, this is a branding expert, owned a very good size. I'm going to say it that way because you didn't want me to sound like you're overshadowing everybody, but a very nice phone company, and then started to bridge off of that. So I'm going to let him get into the details here in a second. Curtis McCoy. Oh man,
Rodd,
my timing is off today. Hey, how you doing, my friend?
I am in personal branding. I've been doing this for years, and I need to learn a trick from you. You made me sound like an absolute rock star, so hopefully I live up to your expectations here.
Oh, I have a feeling, thank you for saying that, but I have a feeling that's a very modest comeback, and we'll just go with that. Thank you for your compliment back, my friend.
Appreciate you.
So I kind of did a very broad brush, as you saw, back in the green room. And I like that, but just makes things more fun. But we were talking back there, and you were talking about the things that the path, the journey that is brought you to today. That's always an awesome subject, and how that branding and suggestions and advice. This is an exciting topic. We got people on pretty quick today. So I look forward to the conversation, and let's go at it. Mr. Curtis, what you got?
Man, I'm just talking beforehand that it sounds like you're off to a great start. You got some background in media. So I'm excited to see what you're doing here. There's a couple of things that I would love to see you tune up as far as your website, your show, things like that actually turn this into maybe probably making some money on it right now, but really help you boost that up and not only improve your profit, but also reach a lot larger audience. But if you're cool with that, I'd love to jump in and just kind of share some of what I'm seeing here. Yeah,
100%. I would love that. Obviously, when you're saying some of the comments, full disclosure. Straight talk. Insights and Straight Talk, right? We're very impressed with Straight Talk, not just scratching the surface. And in this case, I couldn't support that more. So yes, Curtis, please.
Awesome, dude. Man, there's and you see this so often. I'll get people that have me on a show. They're talking about building a business or maybe marketing their podcast or exploding their reach. And then when I say, hey, here's something you can tune up on your website, then pretty soon they're getting irritated, or the episode doesn't ever get published. And
what?
I've had a couple other guys that have made a killing because they've gone through, implemented some of these processes and really started taking off, providing more value to the guests as well as making some money themselves. But one of the biggest things that I see with podcast hosts, probably the biggest mistake that, you got a lot of podcast hosts that listen to your show as well. And if you're a new podcast host, especially, the biggest mistake I see is people saying, hey, this was Bob's podcast. Be sure to check me out on Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, whatever the site is. But it's a platform that they don't own, they don't control. So you need to absolutely control the traffic, own the traffic. Live streaming is awesome. as long as there's a way to drive that traffic back to the domain that you own and control, because it's really difficult to monetize.
Meaning the YouTube channel is what you're talking about now, being able to drive that out, because that's obviously the base of everything, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and you can monetize with YouTube depending on your niche. You can make anywhere from pennies per 1,000 impressions to a few bucks,
right,
depending on what your niche is and who your target audience is. But when you break that down, there's guys like Mr. Beast that are making millions and millions and millions of dollars, but your average podcast host is not going to make enough off of YouTube to justify the cost and the time that goes into
100%.
getting good guests and editing and time away from your family trying to put this thing out there.
Yeah,
what I would recommend, I hear that a lot too. I was a guest on a show a couple weeks back here where they said I was their 83rd podcast interview that was going to be published, and we got done with it, and I was sharing some tips on branding and marketing and how to monetize your online presence. And when we got done, they turned the show off, and they started talking, saying, we actually were trying to decide whether this was going to be our last episode. One of the guys got the girlfriend's upset. The other one, the wife, is saying, you're spending all this time and money. You're buying cameras, buying mics, buying all this equipment. Now there's new software subscriptions, new editing stuff. Oh, you want to invest in a new website? You want to hire a web designer, and not making money. So when I'd seen these guys, they've got a really phenomenal show, nice looking studio and stuff, but didn't have the basics as far as where to monetize it. So one of the things that I would recommend, let's see if you can see, if you go to roddduff.com, owning your domain name.
I just started adding the marketing kind of side of things, cleaning up the YouTube channel. This is something I started with. Actually, this whole thing started because I wrote a book. And this whole channel is based on that book, so to speak. It's what is concerning and what is able to bring the entire great middle class up, more voice, come together, that kind of thing. And that was the first thing I did when I finished my book. I haven't published it yet because I knew I had to have a platform, and so I started building this thinking, let's get a few things on there, and then I can look more impressive to the agents that I'm querying.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to stop doing this. I mean, I literally was working my business while I was writing the book, but this is a whole nother level. So I do want to get back to my book, but yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited to hear more about that too. And that's another thing you hear a lot with authors, where they've put out a really great book with no call to action to drive somebody back. I put out my fourth book on Amazon, and had a highest day was 786 books downloaded in a day on Kindle.
Wow.
But the thing is, we had a massive, back when the telecom company was paying the ads, we had a $10,000 per month Amazon ads budget on paid ads, selling books that were $2.99 a piece, average of $1.06 profit from KDP. If I sold a book to 100% of the people that click the ad. Now, if your ad cost is $1.06, per person getting there, if you're not converting every single person that looks at the ad, you're losing money.
Yeah.
So, but that's one thing that I didn't realize back then when I started publishing books, was that you have to have some type of call to action, a high ticket item, maybe coaching, consulting, something in there to take those $2.99 sales into something where they can pay you some serious.
Working on that right now, my friend.
That's awesome.
Working on that club, that community, to be able to, we say insights and straight talk, maybe deeper insights, or insights and deeper straight talk, something that we can roll off of.
Yeah, man, you're doing a great job here, and just checking out between YouTube, your website, even your matchmaker profile, you've got set up real well. The one thing that I would recommend is on the podcast, if I go to the
haven't done it yet,
to the live stream.
Yeah.
And I know it's a new site you're just getting set up. I would highly recommend, though, creating a dedicated landing page for each individual person. So, for example,
individual landing place for each person that visits the site? Is that what you're saying? We get a lot of questions here.
For each, like I see right now, Adam Wayne is on so motivating. How can new entrepreneurs
Let's start building their brand, which is kind of where we're going right now.
Yes,
Good
sir.
question.
So the most important thing you can possibly do is own the traffic. So you have got an awesome website there, roddduff.com. Perfect. First name, last name.com, TLD, top level domain. Now, let's say you got right now Janet Van Breda on the show. So say she's a guest on your show. You interview her, put your video on YouTube, but now instead of sending people to YouTube, you take that YouTube URL, add that to the top of the page. So roddduff.com/Janet Van Breda, add her YouTube URL at the top. So the video's in the site there. Make that autoplay. So now when somebody when that lands on that site, the video's auto-playing, you own the traffic. You're not sending that to YouTube, but they're still watching your YouTube video. So you're still getting the credit off of the views. You can still monetize it. You could take that transcription. So in YouTube, there's a button that says View Transcript. You pull that up, copy it, run that through ChatGPT or your favorite AI. Take the whole video transcript and say, for example, with me and you could say, hey, I just interviewed M. Curtis McCoy on my podcast. Format this video transcript into a search engine optimized article outline about M. Curtis McCoy and what he offers. So now it's going to write you an outline like a book. Then you say, from this article outline, write a search engine optimized 2,000 word SEO friendly article about M. Curtis McCoy, personal branding, and monetizing your podcast. So now it's going to take and write a good SEO friendly article. Take that, copy it and paste it in there below the YouTube video. Now, if somebody Googles my name, I speak at Caesar's Palace. I've consulted with the United States Federal Trade Commission, but here's where you can steal some of that search traffic that's searching for me. Yeah,
all right, go ahead.
Cool
go ahead.
Yeah, but now when somebody Googles M. Curtis McCoy, if you're one of the few shows that has created yoursite.com/guest name, now you've got their picture in the title. It's guest name, so. Maybe Janet Van Breda. Janet Van Breda speaks on whatever her expertise is there. Now you've got her name optimized in the title, a couple thousand word SEO friendly article linking back to her website. So it's great for your guest because they're getting SEO friendly domain authority passed from your site to their site. So now who are they going to feature? Most guests that understand anything about SEO, check this out. I was just on your blog, and now they're linking back to you. So it's just a massive thing to start boosting your SEO. But also the traffic that's coming in right now, search engines, the whole goal is to provide the best possible response to a question. So if somebody
or to get to the top to be seen, right?
But the search engines place the very top sites are the ones that are providing the best answer to the question people are searching for. So if somebody Googles M. Curtis McCoy,
gotcha. Okay,
they see me on 100 different blogs, different news articles, but now you're the one where they click on it, the video starts playing, and instead of bouncing off in 2 to 3 seconds because they didn't want to read this whole article, they click it, the article's playing. So now they're watching this, reading a whole other article. If they're on your site 35 minutes instead of the 2 minutes or 2 seconds that they would have been on, now Google says, okay, your site is now the expert on M. Curtis McCoy. So now I'm benefiting from it. You're benefiting from it. And once you've done that with enough guests, now Google is saying, okay, this roddduff.com is the authority on all these different guests. Now you put your call to action at the bottom where it's your coaching, consulting, course, products, whatever you're selling, but you're selling something to monetize that. Maybe you're having people come on your show as a guest and doing paid interviews. So now instead of, if they Google anybody, Google some celebrity, a politician, whoever you've had on the show. And they're seeing
just
your
have
show
a
is the authority. So now I've watched this interview. I'm like, that is awesome. I'd love to be a guest on the show. And there's a call to action right there. Here's how you apply. There's whatever your fee is to get somebody on the show, and start pumping out some value for the guests, and also the free interviews. Even doing these for free. If you want to put out your next, do another 100 interviews, optimize the heck out of them, make it where you're getting massive traffic. if every interview is free, but you've got something to sell where you're solving a problem for somebody, you can monetize that real easy.
Oh yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying. And that's a much deeper level, path, a much deeper level, strategy, that I've never heard before. And that's awesome. I mean, I have automation now. I have Chat GPT, and I use, well, anyway, I have some automation now. I speak into here. It takes that, changes the words differently, slightly for LinkedIn, YouTube, for the different situations, and it creates an image based on the word. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I blast those things out pretty regularly, so that's been a real big help. And how do you stay consistent across so many platforms? I think you just said it. You drive them across. You own the traffic, and I got to study what you're talking about there a little bit more, because I know the word embedded, and that's essentially what you're doing there, but it sounds bigger. So yeah.
Do you have a way to show my screen full screen? I can click through and show you some stuff. Real quick,
absolutely, 100%. Thank you.
Okay, so I am looking. So what I mean as far as the let me move my face down here. I'm looking at the wrong camera now. So if I'm looking at your site, I mean your YouTube, like this is awesome. You got great graphic, great description, ton of subscribers. I think you had almost 60,000 viewers in the last 28 days when I was looking at your analytics, which is, you're kicking butt on YouTube. But now if you were sending those to roddduff.com / let's say M. Curtis McCoy, that's not going to show up if the page isn't created yet, but you would have something along the lines of, let's look at this Amazon Fire TV site here. So if you went to Daryl Dittmer, for example, if somebody's searching Daryl, he just did an interview here, but if somebody's searching him, and now our site shows up, this is Daryl. Let's see, successmotivationinspiration.com / the guest's name. So that would automatically play. You've got the link to Spotify, you got the link to YouTube, but it automatically plays here. Got a full SEO-friendly article, a couple thousand word article about Daryl, what he offers. Then if you go here, he's got his Amazon book, a couple of those things there. And then also scrolls down to the call to action. So this is where we make our money on Newswire Magazine or Amazon Fire TV, is getting people featured on the platform there. So you go over to, for example, Sid Brantigan is a digital marketer that has been crushing it online. He's over in the UAE. So he did his feature where he's featured on Amazon Fire TV. We've got the whole article where you can play the video at the top. At the bottom of that, it brings you to his landing page or his article in Newswire Magazine. You can read through the article, but anywhere if they click, his entire goal for being a guest was to get people to book basically a free consultation, because that's where he makes his money, is once he shows people he can help them, then he's closing them there. So you click his link, he's got his free consultation, which now you sign up, and that's how he can close you and land new clients from that interview. But you can do the same thing there as far as having, like on newswire.com, it's news-wire.com / guest name. So your site would be roddduff.com / guest name, and you just have that same kind of a thing where each guest has their own individual landing page.
Real quick on this right here. So you have roddduff.com / and you design each page. So each name has a page, like each guest. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
okay. Oh, wow.
And now that's a paid service that we'll put everybody on Amazon Fire TV, but then if they want to be featured on Newswire Magazine, like if you see right here, we're running people.
Here, let me duck back out again.
Okay.
All right. Because you can't hear me when I'm in the green room, right? Backstage. Like I made several comments. I think I stay cut.
No, I don't think I heard it.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. So go ahead. It keeps me quiet anyway.
Okay, so like this, people get featured on Amazon Fire TV, and on the Success Motivation Inspiration site that has their. This is like what I would recommend for the podcast. Just a free thing. You interview people. We're doing these basically as a podcast, but they're syndicated to Amazon TV. So now each person on the show they're interviewed. They end up on TV. It's basically like a free podcast interview. They get to after the interview, we're taking that, we load them up to YouTube, whatever, create a landing page. So Paul Malott, for example, we've got successmotivationinspiration.com, where that would be yoursite.com instead. You'd have that site with /guest name. Then the title is Paul Malott, how Automation 24 uses or helps small business save time, whatever. Whole SEO friendly article about him. So this is a ton of work. We're spending hours per free interview, but now we've provided massive value for these guys. Now, if he looks at it and says, heck yeah, I'd like to be featured on, look at all the traffic I got for free off of this, basically with a podcast interview. Now we'll put them on stuff like the billboard in Times Square, New York, billboards all over the highway, cover of Newswire magazine. But that's how you can really take that free interview and turn that into a paid service that really generates some revenue for you.
All right. I'm a very excitable guy. I'm trying to hold everything together here because I'm bouncing off the seat watching this stuff. It's amazing how I do some automation, as we said, but that next level is impressive as hell, pardon my language, at the marketing side of things. And you kind of developed this all yourself, or you've had people, because that's a marketing strategy that is next level, big time level, right? What you're talking about. That's huge.
Well, and what it is, that kind of goes along with, if you follow Alex Hormozy, $100 million offers, real sharp guy. You need to check out some of Alex's books, but
okay.
Super sharp dude. But his whole thing is he doesn't work with anybody until they're making at least $150,000 a year. Then you're qualified to start working for him or working with him. But his entire value is provide value over and over and over again. Spends tens of thousands of dollars a month putting out videos on social media, everything, just providing value to help people get to that level to where they're at that $150,000 a year minimum. Then they've got the money to start working with him and really scale it up. But that's kind of the same thing we're doing, is just you put in a ridiculous amount of work, get nothing out of it in the beginning. I mean, years of working your guts out, trying to help other people grow their brand and stuff. But then now when they've got some money to spend and they're making enough off the brand, and especially getting a ton of traffic from what you've already done for them with your podcast, now who's the guy that they're going to be advertising with when they got the money to spend?
Yeah, 100%. That's a great business model. It's very profitable. It has a high rate of success. Two, you're kind of paying it forward. You're coming at it from an approach of, like you said, invest money or invest time into making people better, doing good, and it's still something that you both mutually benefit from, and that's yep. Crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's ridiculously skewed proportionally to where the guest gets a ton more value than you do. I mean, you're going to spend hours making the articles, getting everything optimized, building a really great looking site. But if, like we do for people, we'll tell them what we're doing for free. I guarantee what I'm doing for free is going to be better traffic, better credibility. You're going to get more out of what I've done for free than you've ever paid for in paid marketing. But you can't just tell them that. You can't tell them that until they've already seen the results that they're getting from it, or else kind of like a making yourself sound better than you actually are. Yeah,
you got to prove it because the saying back in the 80s, I don't know if it's still around, but fake it till you make it. You know, that's a try to, like in podcasting, you try to be bigger than you are and show better than you can.
Rented Lambos.
Rented Lambos. You can hear me fine, right, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I hear you fine. Please raise your voice a little.
That might be me. I talk a little quiet.
Yeah, I talk. Oh, maybe it's because they're hearing me more than you. They're like, all right, Rod, slow down. I want to hear
Adam,
what
how's that?
Curtis.
I just turned up the mixer a little bit here.
That is definitely louder. Okay, Adam, thank you for giving us a help. Curtis, what is your number one tip for creating consistent personal brand across platforms? That's everything. The brand, right? The visuals, the thing that you keep pushing out. That's the important part, right?
Yes, sir. And Russ, that's a great question. So many people get too stressed out about, man, I can't be on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, all the different. I mean, I've got my other phone is in the room there. I carry 3 separate iPhones. One of them's a mini, but it is absolutely. It's easier when this is all you do. I mean, you know, I wake up in the morning. I love this stuff, and so from the minute I roll out of bed, you know, do this, go to the gym. So it's probably easier for me to say, just be everywhere. But my biggest recommendation there would be to find the platform that has your target audience that's the most interested, that are people that would probably like to do business with you. So, for example, if you're a business, you know, you're doing business, maybe comment, Russ, what is your industry that whether you're already doing it or something you're trying to get into? But I try to find the platform. For example, Newswire magazine is our main branding thing. We do a ton of social media marketing, the billboard advertisements. So people love to show we get people all the time posting their metal magazine cover on Instagram. Got a ton of followers, ton of traffic. You're
getting a return on that, right?
Send out these metal covers and gallery print when somebody's featured. But that's something where they'll get these, and then now they're posting their Instagram picture. Mersada Mimic, we actually just made her our new icon for the magazine because she is posting the heck out of it, sharing it with thousands of people. So I like Instagram because it's easy to share real quick, short tips and stuff. We do YouTube Shorts now. We've been getting some good traffic off of that. But
yeah, those help.
I'll post on Twitter. I post on all the platforms because I just used an app to basically download, repost the same stuff. But I may get a few thousand views on a YouTube reel, you know, their YouTube short, and a couple hundred on Instagram. But I still generate a whole lot more actual clients off of Instagram because it's people that are looking at trying to be featured, trying to get their brand out there. But I would say find the platform that you like the best, that your target audience is using, and then get on there and really hit it.
Let me ask you this. So Pinterest, you said that one really is, I don't think it's my alley, but what I see the most success on is my X, my LinkedIn, and my what you're talking about now. I posted them all, and I'm gaining. The good thing about doing that is you gain across all the way. If you automate it, you can, like you said, you cannot eat up your entire life. I mean, you can possibly eat up your entire life, but automating some of this stuff and getting professional help and support is always critical.
Well, there's actually an app, an iOS app that's using my likeness video of me in the studio here using AI that generates stuff, and they sent me a free lifetime subscription, but I would not recommend it because I mean, it's cool. You could get on, type in my name, use this app, and have me say anything you want me to say, and post that to your social media. So I'm not using it, but it was kind of a cool thing. I tested out for a little while, and I can schedule this to have OpenAI write a description, feed it to this app, and have it automatically posted 2 or 3 times a day. But there was a lot of it where I'd post, I'd looking at my Instagram feed or my LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever feed, and like, this is not from my point of view. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. And there's some of these things that a couple of them were talking about the power of the universe inside of you. And like, this is not something I would have said. So I shut that down. But I think with what's that? Papa Lynn's saying, how do you recommend balancing authenticity with strategic branding? You were talking about the Navy SEALs thing. I was at an event. I was at a men's retreat with Jeff Wobig, Navy SEAL Teams 5, SEAL Team 7, Operation Rhino Wars. Bad dude, but there was a couple of guys. Me and Jeff were sitting there talking to other guys, asking us questions, and they said the same thing, asking me, "What do you think about balancing personal branding with authenticity?" And so I gave my part there, and Jeff said.
Jeff, did I miss Jeff?
I don't know what that sound is. Jeff
I know.
said,
I just heard it. I'm sorry. Where's Jeff there? I don't see Jeff. Papa Nick.
Jeff Wobig was the one I was talking about. He's the Operation Rhino Wars.
All right, totally missed it. Sorry. Yeah. So those guys are awesome.
But so they asked Jeff, what is your? They had me share my thing about. I'm going, be who you actually are. Don't put on some facade. So my thing was. If you had a crappy experience with the Starbucks barista, you don't go and post that on social media. Maybe go home and tell your wife if it really bummed you out, but don't be sharing all the negative junk. So you want to try to curate the best parts of your life, the best parts of what you're doing. Share some negative if you want, but make sure you're on brand as far as being the person you actually are and sharing that. And Jeff said, what? Heard a lot of guys talk about faking it till you make it. And he said, I'm all for that. If you want to build yourself up and try to build a brand, there's a lot of guys here that are trying to learn to get themselves out there. He said, at some point, you've got to make it or you're just a fake. Room went silent. And holy cow, man, I wish I would have said that.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. That is fabulous. The people that you surround yourself with and can, at the end of the day, your brand depends on authenticity.
Yep.
You have to be authentic to yourself to be able to come across as somebody who cares. I've been in sales all my life, and there is a difference between somebody pushing something, making themselves sound better, because there's a confidence in it, and that's so important, right?
Yeah, that's and there's a difference between being authentic and the old. When I was pretty young, say 20 years ago, there was 20, 30 years ago, you'd hear people say some rude, hateful, arrogant, ignorant comment. Well, I'm just being honest. Not being honest, you're being a prick. You're using that as an excuse to be rude. That's kind of the same thing as if you are, life sucks. I haven't had any customers in months. This guy just ripped me off. And you're sharing that kind of junk. Share your wins. Maybe share some struggles you're going through. But make sure that when I'm sharing stuff, I'm trying to share. I'll share some good parts of life. But then also, here's a massive client win. Hey, here's somebody that just crushing it. Hey, here's some billboard ads with Mersana Mimic or ENGK or whoever we just posted on these billboards. So it's all about sharing. Here's a win for a client. Here's a win for a client. Even Newswire magazine, once somebody's featured, we pay ongoing for the billboard ads, the social media marketing for years later. It's not like a once and done thing. And I had a guy ask me about that. Why do you? He's an older gentleman, and he's trying to figure out why do I keep doing such nice stuff? Why do I keep promoting him after he had paid me a couple of years ago to be featured? Why am I doing so much for him? He sent me a box of oranges from Florida, just as a thank you.
That's awesome.
But he called trying to figure out why I was doing so much for him to keep helping him. And I said, Jeff, every single time somebody sees your face, your Newswire magazine cover, on a billboard, on social media, when I'm recording, sitting in front of the TV and recording a video of you on Amazon Fire TV and posting that out. Every time somebody sees your face on the cover of Newswire magazine, they're seeing Newswire magazine. So that's something where I could be putting our logo up on a billboard, or put your face up there with your name. You're generating you're getting the benefit as well. But,
so smart.
And I just saw Nick's question. You care if we share?
Yeah, no, please. I like
so
this.
Nick,
I was just about to get that one because it's a great question. It's something I wondered, right? Should I do more guesting as well? I mean, on being a guest as well. I haven't done that.
So I think you and I met on Matchmaker FM, which is phenomenal site for booking podcast guests.
It's awesome.
I was their number one rated guests and number one amount of interviews. Did 183 interviews in 90 days as a guest, as an experiment. 183 interviews in 90 days. And again, that's easy to do if this is all you do. But
right. Well, it's still not easy, but yeah, I get it.
That's a lot of interviews.
It is.
Now, out of that, I had 4 shows, 183 guests. Now you imagine how many I actually booked that no-showed, that rescheduled, that didn't actually post the interview. 183 interviews. 4 of them actually created an SEO-friendly landing page, thatshow.com/M. Curtis McCoy, with the video, the article about it. So 179 of these podcasts got 0 out of it. I was on a YouTube Live or a Facebook Live or whatever the thing was. Maybe I'm on a Spotify or Pandora episode that nobody's ever going to watch, but they're getting nothing out of it. They can't benefit from it. They can't monetize it, and search engines aren't showing that podcast except for here's the thumbnail of the episode that maybe if you listen through far enough, you might get some value. So as far as being a guest on traditional podcasts, I would say for most of the time, it's a waste of time. Unless you just, like me, I love talking to people, love connecting, love helping people. But if you're trying to do this for business, you need to get a hold of shows that are actually creating that SEO-friendly landing page. Because talking about media, traditional media versus podcasts, when a podcast will take the time to turn that episode into an article that links back to your website, now you've got the combination that cannot be beat. Traditional media would get smoked by, like how we do with Newswire magazine and Amazon Fire TV. Somebody's a guest on our TV show. We interview them, got a whole long article written, call to action, linking to their Newswire magazine article. Newswire magazine, a completely separate article about them, about their expertise, the tips, with a call to action at the bottom. And then that value stack. Now we've got other sites. Part of the SEO is we'll have other articles written about those 2 articles being featured. Now we've got all these we may have 40 other articles linking into those 2, powering those up as far as an SEO boost, which now, so you're a guest one time. Most people, you don't even have to know about the SEO to go, once you're a guest, to see, holy cow, I've got 100,000 readers a month on this article. How the heck did this happen? And it's because it's that massive value stack where everything is feeding in. So most podcasts, I would say, no, it's just a fun conversation. You get the few that actually do the work to create the page. That's where the podcast host is making a bunch of money, making a bunch of traffic off of it, but it also benefits you as a guest.
Yeah, 100%. It grows both, at the same time, because there's crossover on all that, I wish I was quick on that, because I just turned. I'm not that sophisticated yet on a cough cutout, which is just observation here. So this is a question that you touched on that. So this, Jack, you're really paying attention, because you had made a comment earlier about that AI image of you, and you decided to go, another direction, and you mentioned you're a Christian, and they were going other directions, and that was a quick conversation. So obviously, he's very interested in how faith affects your decisions.
That's and I actually had I try not to get myself canceled here, but I created an AI Bible study app that not an app, but just an Instagram chat. So if you go to, let me look here real quick. If you go to Instagram, check out M. Curtis McCoy. There's actually a Bible study chat on there where you can connect and have a conversation with the AI. But you would not believe how many people were irritated with that, saying that's, you're trying to be God, or you're trying to. So the thing is trained on the 12 most popular versions of the Bible, the most popular translations of the Bible. So King James, the NLT, the different versions of the Bible, and it's trained where artificial intelligence right now does not exist. It's not intelligent. All it is, you're accessing the sum of all publicly available human knowledge. And so with an AI, if you're asking an AI that was created by an atheist or somebody who is an anti-theist, somebody that hates God, and their entire thing, they're feeding it every book on Darwinism and everything you can about maybe Satanism, and you start asking it questions on is God real, whatever. It's just accessing all of the knowledge that's been fed to provide the best answers. So you're going to get some terrible stuff out of something like that, but it's based on who created it. And again, not that this has anything to do with me. I just had it study the 12 most popular versions of, or the most popular translations of the Bible, and you can ask it a question on, hey, for example, I've got a 7-year-old.
That's still
kid
going.
trying
That's on your website, still going. You can run off that.
That's on Instagram. It's not something I monetize.
Sorry, not website. Your handle. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
But the entire goal for that was just to get people to. I had a young girl overseas had messaged the other day on Facebook, said she had found the app, and because of the conversations and the questions that it answered in a biblical manner, she was getting her first Bible, and she was going to start reading. Her goal is to start reading the Bible because the app is programmed to the AI chatbot is programmed to answer with biblical background, some verses, and it'll do daily conversations. So if you say, hey, I've got a 7-year-old boy, we're really having a hard time with maybe he's being bullied or depression or whatever the thing is. So you start asking it questions. It's researching 12 different versions or 12 different translations of the Bible and giving you positive insight based on the Bible and also everything that I've ever written or published online. So it's trying to kind of talk in my tone of voice as a as a Bible. And so I'm not. Both. Yeah. So I'm not. I mean, I've read the Bible cover to cover and stuff. I'm not a biblical expert, but it's trained on the Bible. So. And the whole goal of it is to get you off of the app and get you to start getting in the Word. So that's not really answering the question that he was asking, but I think having faith, I believe
I think it just proves
God that created the entire universe and he created you in his image. So
yeah, sorry. Let me jump in on what you just said because it's amazingly important, to be able, because let's face it, AI is changing the world. I was talking before I retired out of my business. I was talking to some of the leaders in that industry, plastics industry, and the big thing is, I've been doing it a certain way a long time, but people are getting younger and things are moving, and like what you're talking about, the ability to do that kind of stuff. And they were asking me, how are we going to? You have to market, you have to advertise, you have to make sales calls differently as you're going along. And I see it all the time. It's I don't go to a phone booth anymore and make cold calls. There's a lot of people now that are, half my age kind of thing, that are engineers and starting to take the next position as the leaders, the folks that are coming up through the industry. And it's so important how this kind of stuff is affecting our world in a positive way. There's negative stuff, but I think the fact that you're using that app, you developed it, I think that does answer his question because you're doing things from a position of faith, even to the point of the app and giving back to people who have experience the same joy and inner peace that you have. So I think you did. I think you really answered this question.
And if you've got a gift, you need to use it. If you're great at something, if you love doing something, you find a way to use it to help people. Yeah, I mean, that's not something I was doing trying to boost myself up or whatever. It was just, hey, this is kind of a fun thing. Let me do this experiment. And then we had hundreds of thousands of people having conversations with it. I think we had 268,000 conversations in the previous 28 days on this chatbot. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool that.
Oh my God.
Hopefully that's getting more people than just that one girl to start getting in the Bible.
100%. 100%. That's a great story. What's the biggest branding mistake you've often see folks like me or anybody? What's the biggest branding mistake you've come across, you've experienced or seen?
So Clayton Jr., that is a great question.
Yeah, Clayton.
The biggest mistake I see is people not owning the traffic. I talk about that.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
All the time. But for example, you'll hear, you heard me speak at Caesar's Palace or different radio, TV, whatever shows. Anywhere I go, I have them introduce me as M. Curtis McCoy. Now, I don't typically share this. My first name is Matthew, but we own the trademark on the term M. Curtis McCoy. So even though my legal name is Matthew, we've got a legal affidavit of identity saying that that's my brand name, and I'll have them introduce me every single time. Hey, this is M. Curtis McCoy. Today's going to be speaking on whatever. Not owning that traffic.
It sinks in.
And you need to have it to where you own your domain name as a top level, for example, roddduff.com. If that was not available, rodd-duff.com. Rodd middle initial duff.com, but make sure you own that name as a TLD if at all possible, meaning a .com.
Is there something beyond? You mean, okay, you own that .com, which you already saw, and one of the things that I'm is positive to the path that I'm on. But are you saying what was that you were talking about, that your name has been trademarked, and then you said MWP or something like that? I didn't catch it.
So, and this is not something, we've got a legal affidavit of identity, which is a legal document. When you start, that's not something you need if you're not.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
So for example,
a different thing. Gotcha.
Yeah. So if it was, what's your middle initial, Rodd?
It's D, but I have a story about that. All through my plastic, all through my history and sales, I had my name legally added with JR, a nickname.
Okay.
The long story behind it, but that was really great. But there's a reason I'm only Rodd Duff now, and my middle initial is D, so it'd be RODD DUFF. It's crazy, huh? My parents abused me.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest branding mistake would be not owning the traffic, not owning if you're doing anything, if you're publishing a book especially, you need to buy yourname.com if at all possible. If not, publish, put that middle initial in there and make your name, even on your books, where your author name is now, everything you do is under that, whatever that trademark name is.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you need to own the traffic and stop doing all the work. If you're kicking butt on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, stop doing the work to do these interviews, put out great content, all this stuff for a platform that you don't own or control, and they can shut you off at any time. Just like embedding that YouTube URL at the top of your, the YouTube video in the top of the web page, make it to where people own that site, you own that site. And now if YouTube goes out of business, and it's not going to happen, but, and another big site pops up, you still own all the traffic going to that website. You replace the video with a different, whatever the new site's URL is, and make it quick and easy to swap instead of losing your entire brand.
And I'm doing the right thing. So, right. I mean, my website is roddduff.com, and I've got that locked in. So that's a good, in what you're just saying, that's the right thing to do. That's a must.
That's
because it'll give me the tool to own the traffic that you were talking about earlier. to check into that. But that's what you're talking about in owning the traffic, right?
So you're off to the right start as far as owning yourname.com. Most powerful
Right.
step. The part that everybody misses usually is they say, "Hey, this is Rodd Duff. Okay, check out my show on Facebook Live, whatever."
Right.
Where you don't actually own it. So doing the extra work to load that video to YouTube, pull the transcription, click the view transcript button, pull that transcription, ask AI to write a search engine optimized article outline about the guest. Then from the article outline, write his SEO friendly article, putting that below the video on roddduff.com/M Curtis McCoy, to where now you own. Google says, okay, Rodd Duff is the authority on this search term, which happens to be your guest's name.
Man, that's so substantial and something I've again never heard about, but that is dynamic. I mean, that simple, and I don't know how to do it, but I'm sure we'll talk more. That simple link is literally driving. It's got to be hundreds of thousands of more traffic than I'm doing it somewhat automated, but I do a lot of cut and pasting or copy and pasting, and it's hard work, like you said, all day now.
I'm dropping a couple of profiles in the chat here. If you want to get connected.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah. Do you want me to copy also under the, because I think you can only go into a private chat on this, right? Do you want me to copy those and put them in the comments?
Yeah, if you'd like, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I absolutely. Because problem is, as you know more than anybody, right? We got like 200 to 300 today so far. And, but you know how it goes. A week from now, somebody will say, "Hey, I want to watch that." And then they make a comment, ask me a question. I'm not the expert. So I like to push them right straight to you. In this case, I wouldn't want to, but we're competitors kind of. No.
No, and actually, no, it's that's something where I get people all the time having me as guest on, whether it was radio. I did a radio show recently, flew out, did the interview, and they're saying, "Why would you be sharing all these tips on a show where we're talking about branding and stuff?
Yep.
Why are you sharing all this to people who are interested in learning how to do branding?" And my thought on that is, if either one of us are doing such a terrible job at our business of branding people, that you're going to steal my clients or I'm going to steal your clients, one of us needs to be done with. There's
100%.
I think the more value, like that Alex Hormozy thing, provide value, the right people will work with you automatically.
Yeah, I mean, and that's everywhere. I mean, because it makes me remember as I got more mature, I'm going to use a nice word, as I got more experienced, and I spent 40 years in sales in that business. I started in 1989. And so in the beginning, I was asking people, mentors, to, I was being fed, and being eager to be fed was all something that they respect and look at and say, okay, this is what you got to do. And if you do it, you keep that rolling along. Now I notice for the last 10 plus, maybe 15 years, people are asking me, and I could charge something, or I could say, hey, this is what you got to do, or call this guy, this person. I'm okay there, but this person dialed in right to you. Yep. One, they trust my opinion, and two, you remember when it's paid forward to you, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I had a guy. If you're a reader, you probably know Bob Berg. He wrote the Go Giver series with Sharon Lecter. He's also a big dog author.
Yep.
And so Bob Berg, originally, I reached out. I had the goofiest. You might know I survived brain cancer, literally lost the ability to communicate.
Yeah.
I was in a coma twice. And so I came out, I started a podcast trying to figure out how to communicate again without stumbling over my words so bad. And still got some memory issues, but I sent an email saying, hey, I've just read Bob Berg's book a couple of times here. I would love to have him as a guest on my podcast. And I probably had 3 listeners at the time, like ever. But I know the feeling. His assistant reached back out. She said, hey, I just checked out your show. It looks like you've got a great website built out. You've got, I was doing everything that I tell you to do right now as far as the setting up the platform. And she said, we looked at your analytics and right now we're showing less than 10 viewers, but I see you're on the right path and you're doing the work that the vast majority of podcast hosts will never do. So yeah, let me talk to Bob. I think this would be a great show. And so he was like maybe my 3rd or 4th guest ever, but he was talking about the same kind of thing, just providing value, whether or not you get anything out of it, helping people over and over and over again. And this is 2017. It's 8 years later. And I'm still talking about Bob Berg and, hey, you need to grab a copy of The Go-Giver. And that took him 30 minutes of conversation with a guy that was having a hard time speaking, but I've been a kind of a lifelong promoter for him and Sharon as well.
Wow, that's a phenomenal story. And I swear to God, I'm not competing stories here, but it's funny how similar some of the things that happened in our lives pushed us to a direction, pushed us in a direction. Yeah. A couple of years ago, I had a motorcycle accident, broke every bone on this side of my body, and then had a stroke, and so that kind of got me having to do something else and do a lot of thinking, and that's where I started saying, hey, I need to talk about this stuff to people. Yeah. It's critical, and it's funny how it drives you, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got a great question there from Don as well.
Don, right.
I'm trying to see this little monitor. We're running 8 monitors in here. The one I'm looking at right here on the comments is.
Oh, it is?
Real tiny.
You should be. Can you see your own picture? Because I move them over here. Or is it still just really small?
I can. I'm looking at a small monitor. This little monitor up in front of the camera here. There's this one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
So
how can small business owners use cross promotion effectively? And you were just talking about this, and that's the whole key. Effectively without a big budget. I like that question.
A huge thing. Yeah.
I really like that question.
That's an exciting one for me because, for example, you're talking about you may start going on some podcasts as a guest. One thing you could do is reach out to the podcast host, say, hey, do you plan on creating a landing page about me on your site, a permanent landing page? If they do, that's a great show to be on. But now, for example, you could take that, write a featured article on your website about, let's say you're featured in Newswire magazine. So we do the whole SEO-friendly article about you, have your magazine cover created, put you on billboards. But now to really maximize that without the budget of doing any other advertising, you could write an article saying, hey, check this out. I was just featured on the cover of Newswire magazine. Here's what we talked about. You're not copying and pasting the article, but you're saying, these are some of the tips that I shared. Go check out this article. So now on your website, you've created an SEO-friendly article about what you talked about, again, cementing you as the authority to search engines, linking back to the platform that just interviewed you, whether that's a magazine, a blog, a podcast that actually created a page for you. So you're driving traffic to them, they're driving traffic back to you, and the combination, kind of like the rising tide lifts all ships.
Well, that's a multiplier.
It's
a multiplier, right?
Compounding multiplication, yeah.
Wow, that is. I mean, now you start seeing how some people have these numbers, and then most people have these numbers, and it varies, but you have to be smart about this business. It is a business. If you're doing it for a bit, if you're just having a good time, then good for you.
I hope that didn't sound rude.
What?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I was going to say, if you're watching this right now, get on your favorite social media platform. If that's Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, search Curtis McCoy, or just Google me. Get connected on one of those platforms. Send me a message. I am happy to answer any of these questions. Just be really connect, and you'll see some good tips that I post daily.
Perfect, because I have your information, and I'm going to do that for sure, obviously. But I did post that information over. It gives your Facebook, your Instagram, and your YouTube. But you want people to post to the Instagram. That's where you're driving, right?
Wherever it's, I'm just saying, get connected. This is, I love doing this. So if we never do any business together, I am happy to help you. Just give you some tips, and I post daily different clips and YouTube reels and stuff, YouTube shorts with just, they may be a 6-second tip, but it's things that you can actually apply within just a few seconds to boost your brand.
That's huge, man. That is awesome. A couple more questions here, if you got a little bit more time. Okay,
absolutely. Have my mic off.
So Kathy, actually, she's been on the show. She's been on the in the audience a couple of different times. How can introverts effectively build a strong personal brand? Doing everything digitally, I'm guessing.
Well, so here's something. Just share a real quick story here. I grew up in a real abusive household. My dad, not a good dude. Make us dig a hole, be at the bottom of as deep as we could throw the dirt out of, and then climb out and dig the next hole to fill the hole in with the first dirt, and not knowing if you're digging your own grave or not, saying stuff like "you're a waste of skin, you're a waste of oxygen." The one day, had backhanded me, knocked me on the bathroom floor. I'm sitting there crying, I'm like 13 years old. He walked out, same thing. You're a waste of skin, you're a waste of oxygen. Come out, got his 357 Magnum,
I'm so sorry.
Flipped it closed, put it on the counter, and told me to do the world a favor. So as far as being an introvert, I love people, but it's taken a lot of work to get to where I told you, speaking at Caesar's Palace and some of these things, initially, I think I would have still been, I would have a hard time even having a conversation. When I got to college, I could barely, to have a conversation of answering a grocery store clerk, paper or plastic, I've made it a point to look her in the eyes, and I am quivering, scared to death to answer the question and sound stupid, but looking and trying to figure out what color her eyes were. And then later walking through the grocery store and made it a goal to where it was, I'm walking around wherever I was at and made a goal to make at least one person smile. So try to say something to them that, hey man, I love those shoes. Holy crap, that was scary. But
it's like building a muscle, right? You got to keep doing it, right?
Yeah. So I don't think you need to go to those extremes of forcing yourself to become an extrovert. Now, I love being around people, but as an introvert, find the things that maybe you don't want to ever get on video. You're afraid to get on and do the live videos or the podcast or whatever. Start blogging. If you've got something that you care about that you can provide some value, set up your website, create same thing. Whatever your tips are, make a good, relevant, SEO friendly article. Start writing, just posting every single day, providing value. As long as your name, you've got the URL where your name is the site instead of, blog.com would be worthless. But if it's yourname.com, that's a whole lot cooler.
It is.
Just
it's a lot more.
However you're comfortable doing it.
It's a lot easier to drive reactions, like you said. Well, I think we've covered it. Do you have anything else? Did we miss anything that you wanted to discuss here? Any other questions that you or comments you want to bring out? A leaving comment and a wave to your newest group of fans here, I think.
Yeah, I have loved this. I would not that I want to get rid of my current subscribers and stuff, but I would love to. I might even want to trade you. These guys are pretty great. Awesome.
Yeah, they are. They're awesome. And it's been. We started out with like 25 subscribers when I was doing just insights, and then I kind of put it together with insights and straight talk. uh, with your host, Rodd Duff, and producer Barbie. And that marketing, there's a long story about producer Barbie, and you can see it if you want to look, but that's a marketing brand that is really starting to take, I love playing with names like Barbara Rodarte is the reason I'm here. That we have been together over 20 years. She does some of she does the accounting and we still are together, but we decided we're better friends than that. And just to me, as a little twisted mind of marketing, Rodd Duff, okay, cool. And producer Barbie, what, there's an interesting twist there, right?
Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, you're crushing it on YouTube. I'm excited to see this keep blowing up for you.
I appreciate that. I hope you and I stay in contact and stay in the green room a little bit. We'll chat a little offline if you've got some time. Otherwise, we could follow up later. But
sounds good, man. This is awesome.
How do you want to close out, brother? I mean, this was every show I get excited about. And producer Barbie always says that. You said that about the last show, and I'm just very into this, and it's very exciting. As you can tell, I'm not an introvert. I have a little bit higher energy level and louder voice than most people. So I found I found my hobby and turned it into a job. And how do you want to say hi to everybody? And anytime you want to send some of your viewers over my way, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take some classes from you on how to do YouTube, because this is you've got your engagement maxed out on YouTube. Looking here, 221 people watching the show right now, 7,012 subscribers, and
I went whoa. I've been stuck for a week on 7,170 and 88. I've only had one subscriber add on in the last 3 days. So I went over to 72.
7,001 or 7.12 thousand. You just gained a new subscriber too. I just subscribed to you.
You're awesome. So how do you want to close this amazingly, wonderfully interesting interview off?
Man, I appreciate that. This has been awesome. I'm kind of the same thing. Brain cancer survivor. My short-term memory. Every podcast I ever do is probably my favorite one, but this is my favorite one I've done in as long as I can remember.
I'm all for that, man.
I would say get connected. There is and actually this might be a tip for you too. I just recently started here doing the YouTube shorts, so it takes some editing. Using
I'm doing
DaVinci
those now.
Resolve okay,
I'm doing those now. I started a month ago-ish, something like that. I do short forms and mid forms, and and then each information on YouTube, I click it. I have a guest in the comments of the descriptions. I didn't do it on this one because I got to get some either more help or less work. I mean, it's just me. So it's a beautiful, fun thing. But it's just me and my dogs here, and they love it. They love what we're doing. So, I'd love to connect with you and talk some more about it. But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. As you walk off, I'll send you in the green room and then do a little bit of closeout and blow some more kisses at you and compliments. And then there'll be a outro video that shows producer Barbie, as you saw in the beginning. So
awesome, buddy. This is awesome. Good job.
Thank you so much. Have a great one. I'll talk to you in a second. Okay.
Sounds good.
Oh, wait, did somebody? Oh, great show. Great video. Loving this live. Here, that's what I don't want to leave that outside of your view. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Tony, give everybody a big
Antoine.
wave. Yeah, Antoine. Yeah. Give everybody a big wave. I'll see you in a second. All right.
Appreciate
See you,
you
my
guys.
friend. You bet. All right. So, wow. Oh, man. You know, I always do these shows, and Barbie and I always talk about them. Producer Barbie and I always talk about them after the show. She's going to be calling me here in a minute, I know. But each one is I'm very put everything into the show, and so you know how that's emotionally kind of draining. It's kind of a little bit of a workout, and it's just so exhilarating. You know, your heart's going a little bit more than just rest in peace and all that stuff. Mr. M. Curtis McCoy is well, he's a subscriber now, and I'm gonna jump back, give that in return, of course. But you know, like everybody should do, paying it forward, doing things for people that you don't have to do, because it's not only the right thing to do, and if you're Christian, it's the Christian thing to do, and beyond that, people remember it. You know, it's just the right way to go. So hang on for an outro video. We have a couple second clip there that let's go get connected. That's awesome, dude. All right, so I am out. I'm going to if you got any other questions, we got the contact information there, and let's leave it at that. So for now, I'm your host, Rodd Duff, on Insights and Straight Talk with producer Barbie, and you can find us on LinkedIn. We do a lot of promotion in WhatsApp. We do some promotion. And then, of course, on the other social medias that M. Curtis McCoy was talking about. It's a great plan. I mean, an amazing show. I mean, I've never heard insights like that anywhere close. So, again, I appreciate you. And with that, I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here, and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.